Hi everybody. It's such a beautiful day today. I decided it would be a great time to pull out the coffee roaster and make some fresh roasted coffee. So we're going to be starting out with a really nice finished bean. It's a green coffee from Colombia, and it's provided by Smoking Beans Coffee Company. Very sweet finished coffee. So what we'll do here is we'll measure off 8 ounces of coffee. Raw coffee bean, straight from Colombia. Then we'll make sure here, well, a little over 8 ounces, that's okay. This barrel roaster works very good with 8 ounces. It can handle up to a pound, but I prefer to make smaller roasts to give it a little more perfection. And pour that slowly in there like so. Now we'll take it out to the roaster. Here's some finished product that we had from earlier today. Beautiful dark roast, medium to dark roast. Just has a nice oil finish to it. Very, very, very good. Now, this machine here is a Bravi, very well made coffee roaster. We've made many pounds of coffee with this. It prefers to have Kona fancy beans in it, but we're trying this Colombian, and it is a very nice bean. Roasts out very nice. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and start this up. We're going to actually put it on the 10 cycle. I found that is a very nice cycle, and what the coffee will do is it'll go through a process. It'll get up to it, it'll start shucking the skin when it gets hot, and then it'll go into its first pop at about 392 degrees, and then from that point on you can either finish the coffee off or let it go darker. The more hotter the barrel gets, the darker the roast will be. So here we go. This roast process will take about 19 minutes. So to not bore you, I will cut away and come back to you as it's at the end of its finishing point. Well, I need to make a little bit of a correction. Accordingly, the coffee is ready on its first crack at 352. And that's pretty extremely light. That makes for a very, very light roast. Then at 362, you'll get into a little bit of a light roast as well. At 372, they call that a city roast. And then when you go up a little higher, 392, that's when we get into the city plus. Now most people, a lot of my friends, they like the dark roast. The dark roast does deplete a lot of the caffeine, but it gives it just really good flavor. So the coffee will start out in a yellowish state, and then it will smell like grass burning, and after that you'll start to hear that first crack. And the first crack basically is right around 352, and then as it goes up to the second crack, that usually begins right around 395 degrees. Now at this time you got to either decide that you want a nice medium roast. Well, you're going to want to probably pull out about 402, but I go by sound. I go by listening to the beans crackle, and I can usually determine where it is that I want my coffee to come out. I can see the amount of smoke that is leaving the machine, and I've got it dialed in now with a roasting number, so I hit my mark right on. So basically, there's a lot of science to roasting coffee. It's you just can't set it and forget it. This ain't Ronco today. So anyway, just a little quick note about roasting coffee. And as we're talking, it's now just starting to smoke a little bit. The husk has been basically removed off the skin of the bean, and now it is reaching the temperature where it's getting close to its first crack. We've been roasting now for just about a little over 12 minutes, and now the aroma starts coming out of the machine. Oh, you can smell the coffee, and it's just it's a wonderful smell. A little different than when you're brewing a cup of coffee, but it is just a distinctive smell. And pretty soon we're going to start seeing some smoke start leaving the hood of the roaster. Another little fun fact about coffee, roasting coffee, is people can use all kinds of methods for roasting coffee. You can use a barbecue. You can use a heat gun. Make a little cylinder on the end that'll swirl the green bean, and as long as you can get the heat guns, it'll do anywhere from 900 watts, 1500 watts with a high, medium, low setting. You can roast coffee very efficiently with a heat gun. You don't have to go out and buy a fancy machine, but it is nice to have a machine that basically does the work for you. Some people use cookie sheets in the oven. Some people use cast iron pan on the stove. So there's all kinds of methods that you can use to roast coffee. Then there's the popcorn poppers. It has to be a popcorn popper that gets up to at least 600 degrees so that it can roast the coffee. When I first started, we did try a popcorn popper, but it got it down to about a cinnamon roast, and that was about it. It wouldn't go past that because it just didn't have the wattage and the heat to get the bean to roast any longer. So just some things you can think about if you ever decide you want to roast coffee. Green beans are available at a lot of places now. You can shop online through Amazon, like that's what I did, or you can find them sometimes in stores around town. Not very often, but most of the time I do have to have my coffee brought in. I don't know if Portland Coffee Roasters will sell to an individual. I've never tried it, but I'm sure that they would probably sell green coffee. And there's other coffee roasting companies in Portland that do supply green coffee to different vendors around the state. The coffee now has reached its temperature of 392 degrees. It's starting its first pop, and we're seeing a little more smoke come out of the vent, and so this is where you separate the beginners from the professionals. All coffee beans have different moisture content, so a dialed in program necessarily doesn't mean it's going to come out perfect. You really have to listen to the sound of the bean as it goes through its caramelization process. So now we're saying that the first pop is done, and it's going to go into its second pop. As a note too, when you start roasting, try to find a very inexpensive bean. You can get roast down anywhere from $4 to $6 a pound. By all means, don't start out with coffee that is like $25 to $30 a pound. And when you first start roasting, you might take that expensive coffee and turn it right into charcoal from over roasting. So always find a little bit lesser of a common roast, or a common roast that's going to still taste good. But don't start out roasting Kona from Hawaii at $15 to $20 a pound. Not advisable. I hate to say it, but we had some instances where we roasted a little too long, and it came out a little too dark and a little bit on the charcoaly side. So beware. And it's always fun. It's a fun project. It's a fun hobby to roast coffee. So now the coffee has done its second pop. You can't see it very well, but we're getting quite a bit of smoke, and it's coming to its finishing state. I wish you could see the smoke and smell the smoke on this video. It's just it's just even the smoke. It just has a really nice odor to it, with a roasted coffee bean. There we can see a little smoke. They say you should never open up the, there we go. Finished. Now what it's going to do is it's clearing out the smoke. It's reducing the temperature. Clearing off all the smoke in the chamber, and then it's going to run for about 5 minutes longer to cool down the beans. Then the barrel will auto reverse and then drop all the beans into the finished bean reservoir right here at the end. Just to show you. That's how she works. Rolls it. And there's burners down there that are going to keep it from going into a it's like a cement mixer. Just rolls the coffee over and over. There's the burners underneath that heat the chamber. And eventually this machine will turn the opposite way and empty the cup. Here are some beans at different roasting stages. You have your green right there, then it turns yellow, then into light brown, then into a darker brown, right up to the finished point of the finished roast. Yeah, we already have some coffee that I roasted earlier here that are basically cooling off. CO2, the optimum time to grind this coffee is after about a 24-hour period. Give it at least 12 to 14 hours to let the CO2 gas off the bean, and then you're going to have some awesome coffee. There are those stages of coffee once more. Wow, now here's a better picture of the roasting process from start to finish. contrasting on the blue seemed to bring, you could see the different colors. Here we go. Beans are nice and cooled. No more roasting. They're ready to go to be set off the side for 12 hours. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed this video.